Talking about Stepfather. It's my favorite one. Stepfather.
Yes, I guess it is your favorite one. Fa 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 fa.
One, two, and three. That's where I want to be. Stepfather. Well, hello there. Welcome to On the Beat, the podcast that uncovers full frontal spooky male nudity in cinema. My name is Laura, and I am joined by my co-host, Ryan.
I'm terrified.
You're terrified because it's Spooky Penis Month once again, and we are here to uncover my personal favorite movie of all time, I gotta say.
Your personal favorite movie of all time?
At least today.
Why don't you just do what normal people do? Just admit it's like a guilty pleasure, and
I feel no guilt
and stop. Yeah,
about my pleasure.
No, it's not.
Hush up, because we are talking about the 1987 psychological horror film, The Stepfather. Stepfather.
Step parents are the worst.
I just have divorced parents. That's okay.
Well, so do I. Well, welcome to the 20th century, Laura. Or the 21st century. Yeah, the 21st. We're in the future. We're
in the future. Who am I here?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Who am I here?
Non-familial relations. It's, yeah.
Well, this film, my favorite, is directed by Joseph Rubin, who has directed a few of my favorite movies, but you'll get into that in a second. And this film stars Terry O'Quinn, Jill Sholin, and Shelley Hack.
Okay.
As, stepfather, stepdaughter, mother, respectively.
Yes. Quite a cast.
It is a great cast. Why are you being weird? It's so fucking good. Okay.
Oh, man.
The synopsis pulled from Letterboxd is... It's pretty short. A seemingly mild-mannered man who has just murdered his entire family quickly adopts a new identity and leaves town. After building a new relationship with a widow and her teenage daughter, he struggles to hide his true identity and maintain a grip on reality. And the tagline is, he wanted a perfect family in a perfect town, but they couldn't measure up.
Yeah.
Neither could the others.
Yeah.
Yay!
He has very, very high, almost unattainable standards for what he expects in his family.
I absolutely love that the director said he's not a bad guy. No one can live up to his expectations.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's trying his best to keep it together, to keep some order around here.
Yeah.
And everyone just keeps messing it up. Yeah. What is he meant to do?
It's like the boomers of now. Like, boomers now, this would work as a story now.
That is his generation.
Yeah, it is his generation. It's
Norman.
Just like, we were better back then. Things were easier. But you got your houses. You could afford it. Shut up.
He can afford a lot. Well, no, he doesn't even need to buy a house because he keeps moving into the houses of widows and divorcees.
He's able to. Here's something that I noticed. He's able to change his identity pretty much on the fly super quickly. He sees an ad for a job in the paper and he calls it that day and he goes, I saw your job advertisement in the newspaper. And they're like, cool, why don't you come in? And he comes in and he's like, what can you sell? And he's like, I can sell anything. It's like, you've got the job, sir. That doesn't happen now.
Well,
There's no way.
He's a sociopath. And he knows how to sell himself.
Yeah, that's very true.
He's very charming.
Yeah. Either way, he's, old Terry.
Terry's amazing, but I don't want to hear about Terry. I want to hear about my boy, Joseph Rubin.
Joseph Rubin is an American retired filmmaker.
Boo! He is very old.
He doesn't make films anymore. So we'll remember Rubin for making Stepfather in 1987, The Good Son from 1993,
yeah,
and Money Train in 95. What were the movies? Because you said plural. Some of your favorite movies.
Well, didn't he also direct Sleeping with the Enemy?
He did, yes.
Okay.
I think that's his. That's probably his money train. Is Sleeping with the Enemy.
Yeah.
How successful that movie was. Okay. Well, here's the thing. They did remake Stepfather in 2009. This hasn't got anything to do with Ruben. I just thought I would bring it up because we watched the remake, and it's actually worse than this one.
I don't know why you're saying it like you're gonna upset me. Okay, the Stepfather from 2009, right?
Has Dylan Walsh, Penn Badgley, and supposedly Amber Heard's in it, but I don't remember her dumb face.
Oh my God.
It's not good.
No, it's not. Instead of having a stepdaughter, he has a stepson, which is Penn, and the
Yes.
Gossip Girl.
Mm-hmm.
I rented that from Redbox
Oh, wow.
back in the day.
Yeah,
And then
'cause
I go, oh, that's how I found out about original Stepfather. Because I watched that and I go, okay, interesting. Go on the World Wide Web, found out that there's an OG Stepfather that's a trilogy.
Okay.
Got it from a Netflix disc.
Right.
Bada boom. Stepfather fan forever.
Okay. Because
Because if you watch 2009 Stepfather and go,
Yeah.
I see that this could be good, and then you watch the original, you go, oh, I mean, there's nothing better.
Yeah, Dylan Walsh doesn't have the gravitas that a Terry O'Quinn has. Dylan Walsh is a little bit of a wet blanket. I'm not gonna lie in that movie.
What else did that guy do?
Dylan Walsh, he's kind of invisible. You know what I mean? He's kind
Just
of like
classic white guy.
yeah. He's kind of a little bit like
Oh, he was in Congo.
he was in Congo.
Oh, that's okay. I know that's familiar.
Yeah, he's kind of like an ugly version of Bateman. And
Jesus.
Bateman has like personality, you know. But you talk about like Stepfather has a sequel. So the sequel, Stepfather Part 2 or Stepfather 2, continued on with Terry O'Quinn, which is odd because he pretty much gets fucking vanquished. Spoiler alert at the end of Stepfather. But we all know horror doesn't matter. But then number 3 replaced him with Robert Whiteman.
Dude, if you guys...
Yeah, I'm like,
The
what?
Stepfather saga is so beautiful and so strange.
Yes.
Stepfather 2, like the subline, is make room for daddy. Thank you very much. And Stepfather 3, I'm pretty sure it's Father's Day. Amazing. I don't even want to talk about Stepfather 3 because it's so weird and how they make it happen is incredible. Like a dirty barge and a face-off situation.
Yeah.
Brand new daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Same rules.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
It's a TV movie, and I will also, because I'll just read this as verbatim as I wrote it down. These 2 films are not good.
Which films?
The 2 sequels I just spoke about.
I don't know. I disagree.
Stepfather 2, we tried to watch.
Don't say we. I've seen Stepfather 2 many times.
Okay.
Jonathan Brandis is in Stepfather 2.
Oh, sorry. Well, okay, it's a 5-star movie now, I guess. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. No, I think the audience can be painfully aware of the fact that one of us likes this and one of us doesn't. I think that's painfully obvious.
I think that you just need a little bit more time, but that's okay. We're going to give this film about an hour of our time right now.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, let's continue on. So, Joseph Rubin has done many pictures in his time, and we're going to go through them all. And it starts off in 1974 with The Sister-in-Law, which is a funny enough thing. The Pom Pom Girls from 1976, Joyride from 77, Our Winning Season in 78, Breaking Away in 1980, Gorp in 1982. 1980 as well. Dreamscape from 1984, The Stepfather from 1987, True Believer from 89, Sleeping with the Enemy in 91, The Good Son in 93, Money Train 95, Return to Paradise 98, The Forgotten 2004, Penthouse North 2013, The Ottoman Lieutenant from 2017.
Yeah, the last couple are they look bad.
Yeah. But, he's retired now. He made his sleeping with the enemy money. And I say good for him. He got out while he still could.
He's amazing. I like all of his stuff. I don't know if I like Money Train all that much, but that's okay. So this film kind of came to be based on true events-ish. Inspired by. So it was inspired by the murders that John List enacted. So he was a serial killer, John List.
Oh, yeah, John List. Yeah, I've heard of that name.
So Carolyn Lefcourt, who was working as a story editor for Walt Disney Pictures, I don't know, is Terry O'Quinn a Disney princess? He is in my heart. She saw an article about the John List case, and she showed it to writer Brian Garfield, who was the head of Shan Productions. So John List killed his wife, his mother, and his 3 children. Okay? And this was on November 9th, 1971.
Okay.
It's so messed up. So apparently after making himself lunch, after murdering 2 of his kids, his wife and his mother, he drove to his oldest son's school to watch him play in a soccer game. And just before that, he went to the bank and he closed his account and his mother's bank accounts.
Okay.
Okay?
Right.
Then he went home. He shot his son repeatedly because apparently there was a misfire and his son tried to fight back. And then John List just straight up disappeared. So he closed all their bank accounts, took all the money, murdered everyone, left. A month went by before anyone knew that anything was going on because apparently they were a little bit reclusive.
Okay.
And List had sent notes to all the children's schools kind of repeatedly to kind of keep them off his scent.
Of course.
He assumed a new identity, remarried. I mean, this is basically the story of Stepfather.
Of course.
Eluded the law for 18 years. And he was arrested in 1989 after his story was broadcast on America's Most Wanted.
Jeez, okay.
He was convicted on 5 counts of first-degree murder, and he was serving 5 consecutive terms of life imprisonment. He's dead now.
Yeah.
He died in 2008.
Yeah.
But he stated the reason that he gave for these murders was financial problems, as well as the perception that his family members were straying from their religious faith. And his motivation, and he believed that killing them would assure that their souls would have a place in heaven, where he hoped to join them one day.
Religion is bad, y'all. It really is.
They weren't living up to his expectations.
They weren't. They certainly weren't living up to God's expectations. That obviously he had a direct line to. Yeah, what a nutcase.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think yeah. It's like if you really dive it, this is kind of going off topic, but if you really dive into like the motivations as to why people like become serial killers and do the sorts of things that they do, and why there's such a prevalent, like why historically like the United States is like one of the prime locations. Same with the UK as well. There was tons of serial killers over there as well. Yeah, and it's all mostly perpetrated by white
middle-aged
people.
white men.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's just like. It's like you're in effectively like Western society, like the place on earth where everyone kind of looks up to, and it's like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna go around murdering because that's how I want my life to be.
It's really hard to be a middle-aged white man.
They have it the hardest.
It's
guys.
really, really hard.
They really do.
They have to act out, and someone has to pay attention to these men.
Speaking from experience, why does no one pay attention to me?
If we don't pay enough attention to
why
these
are they not
men,
paying attention to me?
They're gonna get upset.
Oh man, they're gonna.
We are not living
so
up to these
annoyed.
men's expectations.
We have to appease the white man. These fucking loafs, these snowflakes. Yeah.
Yep. Da-da-da. So, the cinematographer, I thought you might have mentioned him, which maybe I didn't give you a chance, was John Lindley. This was his first film that he shot.
Okay.
And Ruben, I think, was having a hard... Jesus Christ.
That's the 5th time he's gone up and down the street now. I'm riding my bike.
There's some marbles out there.
Oh,
Is that why the dog's barking?
Probably, yeah.
It's because of that guy?
I'm riding my bike up the street,
Okay.
4 or 5 times in the rain, Bon Jovi.
Bon Jovi. Apparently, Ruben was having a hard time finding someone to shoot this movie. He didn't like anybody. But then he said that John Lindley showed up like a mail-order bride and changed his life. But yeah, this was the first film he shot.
Like a mail order
That's
bride.
what he said.
John Lindley is probably still alive. I don't think he's going to... Right, okay. Well,
He loves him. He goes, he had so much fun with him. They became really good friends.
Right, okay.
It was a laugh. He is a laugh. I'm sure he's
is.
still funny.
Yeah. No, I'm sure he's hilarious.
Well, he worked on his most popular films with him, the ones you've already noted. Sleeping with the Enemy, The Good Son, Money Train.
Okay, I see.
Best Friends.
Wow. Wow.
Well, I guess we'll just jump into the film itself.
I think
this penis scene is really soon, but I do want to talk about the opening shot. Very, kind of not middle America, but very kind of
quaint,
beautiful street, tree-lined street,
more quaint, please.
Quaint. Yeah, most quaint.
Quainted.
Very Norman Rockwell. Mm-hmm. Family values. A little kid riding his bike down the street, and it's got some sweet, sweet keyboard jams going on.
The scene is being set.
That
there's something boiling underneath the surface in this quaint part of Little America.
The director said that he had guys in the trees. He had to get some guys to climb the trees and shake them to get the leaves to fall.
Get up on that tree.
Get in that tree, shake them. Shake them up.
That's kind of crazy. Okay. Yeah, because you were like, because if we set the scene, we'll get into it in a second, but like you were talking about like one of the gaffes of this movie was like it's meant to be during the fall, but there's also a lot of green.
Yes.
But then I was like, but most of the green is on the bushes, and the bushes don't tend to go brown. It's the trees that go brown. So, I don't know. People say that's a gaff. I think you're talking shit.
I think it was mostly that scene where you meet the daughter and the mom for the first time, and she's raking a massive pile of leaves, but around her there's no
trees.
There's no trees that are brown.
Well, you know how that goes. It's
okay. I like it.
Yeah.
I never would have. I don't think about things like that.
The leaves,
I just read
the leaves
about
themselves are carried on the wind, usually. And that's how they're able to transport to places. God. Yeah, I mean, that's how that happens. And that happens several hundreds of times. Let's get back to the quaint.
It's super quaint.
It's very quaint. And then we're in a bathroom. We're in a bathroom and bad daddy's standing there.
It starts off pretty damn grim. Pretty grim. You go from this beautiful, quaint, tree-lined street, leaves falling, little kid riding a bike.
Yeah.
You see the house, you get into the bathroom.
Yes.
And there's a bloody man.
He's covered. He's a hairy man in a flannel shirt covered in blood.
Blood everywhere.
Washing
his hands.
Yes.
And he's got he's got a suitcase, and a plan.
He does have a plan.
I don't know what the plan is yet, but he certainly has one.
Mm-hmm.
But this happens right away. This is 2 minutes and 20 seconds into this film.
Yes.
Where this bloody man takes a shower.
Yeah. So he takes off all of his bloody clothes, his flannel shirt,
his tidy whities.
His tidy little whities, and you see the whitest ass of all time.
He really makes me think that that's the kind of swimsuit he would wear. The actor Terry O'Quinn would potentially wear a Speedo type swimsuit.
Yes.
Based on the tan lines.
You see his monstrous tan lines. Like they are
not that bad.
They're biblical. Like this is in his tan age. You know, like this was before he went to Lost, and he's like a white bald dude. And he's pale as day. Here he's got some color on him, and he's obviously been out in the sunshine.
Yeah.
wearing nothing but pants.
Yeah.
So
Maybe his old family had a pool and he liked to go out and lay out in the sun.
potentially. I mean, if you have a pool, you are more inclined to want to be out there in that pool, out in the sunshine, wearing whatevers. Yeah, we all have our own tan lines, but I don't know if it's like for what's being shown to you, you're just kind of like, huh, there's tan lines, because obviously he's like a bloodied man covered in whatever familial juices has been
Gross.
secreted from whatever he's done. But yeah, you see him take off his tidy whities, and because there's a mirror directly in front of him, I mean, you see everything.
Yeah, you get the full frontal nudity from the mirror.
Yes,
Full mirror nudity.
and you see him going into the bath. He just turns, and you see it the entire time. Like there's no mistaking it. It's actually for in terms of coverage, this is one of the best ones we've done so far.
It's pretty good. And yeah, I mean, all the director could say about Terry O'Quinn was just praise him for being incredibly dedicated. He had no qualms about doing anything like this. There was no qualms about the nudity. He just went for it. Incredibly dedicated man. Dedicated to this role, which is a little creepy, but that's fine.
A little creepy, yeah. But he does actually have some very interesting, like, psychotic flourishes that are surprising. Certainly when I do think the script, the story, like the structure, and like what this is, because it's plain as day. Like it's not. Like, the structure's there. I just don't think, like, a lot of the substance is there. But without Terry O'Quinn,
oh my gosh,
this film is in the shitter. It is fucking trash.
And they wouldn't
without
discuss.
Terry O'Quinn.
Yeah, they wouldn't discuss the other actors that they had in mind, but basically
Tom
no
Cruise.
one would touch it with a 10-foot pole.
No, I mean,
no
I'm
one
not
was
surprised.
interested.
Yeah,
So
I'm not surprised.
Terry O'Quinn was not a very well-known actor, but he had done a lot of work prior to this. But he came in and auditioned, and in his audition, later in the movie, do you remember when they find the newspaper article that basically
Yes.
describes the old murders, and then he's like, oh, this is terrible, and folds it into a little paper hat?
Yes.
He mimed that during his audition,
Huh.
and Ruben was just in awe of how he goes, I could see this hat in his hand. It was weird. He did it so well, and he just really embodied the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So he just blew them away from the start. He's
Okay.
incredible.
Yeah, no. This film is dog shit without Terry O'Quinn. I will give it that.
Stop shitting on my movie.
I'm not shitting on it. I actually gave it a positive.
Okay.
You know?
He is amazing.
Yeah, he's the cherry on top of a shit cake. But
You're gonna make me so mad.
he eventually shaves. He has his shower. He finishes up. He shaves. And this is him concealing his identity.
Hey, you cut your hair, you shave, you look like a new man. You had a haircut the other day and the dog got scared.
It suffers from... That's rubbish. This film, like this, the whole premise suffers from Superman syndrome. So, you know, just because he's wearing glasses and he doesn't have a little bit of a quiff, that's not to say that, like, well, no, hold on, that's obviously Superman. I mean, obviously.
Suspension of disbelief.
Yes. But then you do see the murder site when he comes down the road. And
Also,
he's
when he puts on his clothes, he does this little like turn and this like creepy little smile into the mirror where he's like, "Ooh, I'm a new man. I'm a brand new boy. This is my new life. I'm Jerry Blake." It's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, and then he you're right, we do get to see the murder scene, but he starts tidying all the way down towards the murder scene,
Yeah,
which is
he does.
awesome.
Yeah.
There's
But
a
I'm
little
like, it's kind of stupid because, like,
Oh,
he's
shush.
putting his fingerprints on everything and he's, like, wiping off his dirty fingerprints on everything. And then, you know, you do find out later because you talk to the cops because they are fucking useless.
Well, the fingerprints don't matter because all of his records were falsified.
Yes.
So they know it was him. They know who murdered everybody.
Yeah.
It's just they had a fake name. They have nothing to go on because they don't know where he went. They don't know who he is.
Yeah.
This is the 80s.
So he leaves because that shot of him coming down the stairs ends on a child because you know it's a child because it's right next to a bloody teddy bear. He just exits out onto the quaint street in search of more quaint. He is on the prowl for quaint.
Well, you know he's happy, and you know that he's ready to start his new journey because he's whistling all the way down the street. He's whistling Camptown Races.
Yeah.
They originally wanted him to whistle The Way We Were, but when it came time to get the rights, they couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
So they go, Camptown Races.
Yeah.
That old jingle from the 1850s.
That old thing. Yeah. That's so, yeah.
But Camptown Races ended up becoming his tell throughout the rest of the other films as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's, yeah, I mean,
he doesn't hide very well.
No, of course he doesn't. You kidding me? He's just like, yeah, I'll put on this tiny little fake mustache and I'll change my name to Douglas. It's like, okay. It's like, yeah, of course, no one's ever going to know. And he doesn't seem to move out of state. He doesn't move out of state, does he?
No, I don't believe he does. No,
he just obviously in New York, or it's near New York. It's New York State, isn't it?
No, it's Washington State.
Oh, well, maybe it's different over there.
It was filmed in Canada.
It was filmed in Vancouver, right? Okay.
And then set in Washington. Because she gets the newspaper article from the Seattle Times, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, either way, who knows? Who knows? I thought it was in New York. That's obviously not true. But, yes.
Well, he's got a new family. You don't get to see really how he meets this family. It just kind of jumps right in to...
No, I don't think you need to.
No, you don't need that.
You don't need to. You don't need to see him flirting with a woman at the bar. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, she'd probably be happy for the attention, because any guy's coming up to you after you say, yeah, no, I've got a child. I'd be like, no, you're all right.
Well, it's maybe a little bit easier to swallow because the daughter's 16, so you think, you know, she'll be out of here soon.
I guess.
Then I can have my hot Charlie's Angels wife.
But she's trouble.
That daughter is trouble. She's a bad girl.
Trouble. And I'm kind of just like, she doesn't really strike me as being trouble, but she gets into fights and stuff all the time. And then she gets fucking expelled.
She gets straight expelled. Well, she's been trouble for a long time. She's going to therapy, which is good. No hate on therapy. We all need therapy.
Yeah.
But it's obviously not helping her.
But she gets
anger
expelled,
problems.
And then Mum's just like, it happens. And I'm like, what? I'm like, your kid just got fucking expelled.
There's a part of me that thinks that she was doing it specifically so she could leave home because she doesn't like stepfather. Because she keeps saying, I'm going to go to boarding school. Please send me to boarding school. And he goes, he doesn't want to break up the family. Obviously.
He's psychopathic with his commitment to family. Like, he's got more commitment to family than fucking Toretto in the Fast and Furious movies. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, that's Jerry Blake's motto, is family forever.
Yeah. And like, even like Toretto, they would have big bads like in those movies and stuff that like murdered members of his family. Then he just recruits them into his family eventually. It's weird. Doesn't make any fucking sense.
Keep your friends close, your enemies closer, your family the closest.
Your family is family.
Absolutely.
Family. Enemy family. Family. But yeah, like, she gets expelled and she's like, oh no, that's cool. And the dad's like, girls don't get expelled.
Yeah, she is not fitting into his ideal of what a perfect family unit looks like.
No, goddamn not. Fucking school business. Like, get your business straight. Get your school business sorted out.
That night that they find out at the family dinner, the sit-down family dinner, that she got expelled, she's just in her room on the phone, chilling on the phone, and then stepfather and wife go to town on each other. But it's so creepy because you can tell that he's literally only doing it because he knows that's something he has to do to be a good husband.
It's like she's having sex with a rock.
He's just staring.
Yeah.
Straightforward. Mm-hmm. He's fulfilling his duties by fulfilling her needs. And she's none the wiser.
Husbandly. No, I mean, does she need to be any the wiser? I mean, she's getting a deep dick in.
Well, he's also probably annoyed that she interrupted him watching Mr. Ed on television. and he was really into it, and he looked just like a little kid watching Mr. Ed. He goes, "It wasn't until high school that I realized horses couldn't talk." And then they had sex.
Yeah.
The TV was probably still on, so he was just watching Mr. Ed over her shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Categorically, in that moment, there is not a single statement that would have got her wetter. So, there's that.
My gosh.
Mm-hmm.
And there is, I think it's around this time that you get the really interesting but weird subplot of the hot brother-in-law investigation.
The hot brother-in-law?
Yeah.
Where'd you get that from?
What do you mean? He's
the hot brother-in-law living out of his fucking car.
Yeah, his car that could be cool, but he's like too busy investigating his sister's murder.
He's living in the fucking murder house as well, which funnily enough looks like the almost exact same layout as fucking Jerry's current house with his current family.
Do you think they did that on purpose?
I don't know. Maybe they were trying to save money.
No, they're trying to link it up. It's different houses.
Okay. Well, either way, they do look very similar to me.
He has a style that he likes. And that's the one. It's a nice house. Huge.
I think the style is quaint. I think that's what that is. Family, quaint, family.
It's just a strange... Oh, it's not even a rushed subplot. The movie's 89 minutes long. Yet you have your stepfather family plot, the main thread of the film. He's trying to be the best daddy he can. And then you have the subplot of the brother-in-law trying to find him.
It is categorically the worst part of the movie is his investigations and his interactions with the police.
I don't think it's actually bad. It's just, it kind of comes out of nowhere, but then the movie is swift. The movie does not drag. So it's interesting to me that you have a subplot that maybe takes up 20 minutes of the movie, maybe not even, but it just kind of comes and goes, and you're like, oh, he's still on the trail, I guess.
He has a conversation with the guy from the newspaper who basically is like, it's a year-old unsolved murder investigation, and they're complaining that they're dragging the case back up again when it's obviously still open.
I love that.
And when he speaks to the cops actively say that they have zilch, and I've not heard that word in such a long time as zilch.
Love it.
But then he also forgives the brother for potentially acting out and giving him a pardon for vigilantism if he's able to get a gun and then just find the guy, because that'd be a lot easier for the cops.
That was incredible. How the cop goes, when he was asked, what would you do if you were me, if your sister was murdered? Oh, I would find a gun and I'd shoot him.
Just between you and me, I'd shoot him.
Like, what?
It's like, what are you talking about? And you never see this cop again. I'm pretty sure you don't. Because it's like other investigators end up being involved in this thing, and they're just like, look, come back to me in 2 weeks when, we're not so busy. And he's like...
Because he goes, oh my gosh, it's so funny how he figures out where he is. He finds a copy of Travel and Leisure magazine, and it has the top places to raise a family. And it's like number 1. And he goes, that's gotta be it. As if Jerry Blake, whatever his name is, reads Travel and Leisure to find his...
Here's the issue with that, though, is that copy of Travel and Leisure is in the previous murder house. Did he just find a copy of that magazine?
It was in the murder house?
Yes, it's in the murder house.
Oh.
Why would he be in the other house? So
he found it in the library. I just remember him picking it up at the library.
Does he pick it up at the library? I thought it was in the murder house.
Unless it was in both places, but...
How the fuck did he ever make the correlation?
Exactly.
Right, it doesn't make any goddamn sense.
It's great. But it worked. And then he goes to that town, and he goes to the Hall of Records, and he asks for all of the marriages, I guess, for someone that is a single woman with kids.
Yes, my area of interest is quaint. Can we please find out all of the marriages, all these new marriages from pre-existing families?
Like in the last year? Awesome.
It
works.
it's so wildly unrealistic, and I'm like, and it's the only thing that really kind of, I mean, it brings the film down. What am I going to say?
It doesn't.
It
Because
doesn't. It's incredibly anticlimactic, and that he does eventually. Spoilers. He does eventually find him, and he's so shocked to be like, "Oh my god, it's the guy I thought it was." That he doesn't do anything about it, and he fucking gets murdered. And you're like, oh,
incredible. It is one of the biggest, most hilarious letdowns I could imagine.
it's
After
awful.
after this, you intentionally have a subplot of hot brother-in-law trying to find this man, and when he finally does, he gets straight. He goes, "Oh, it's you!" Pop, murdered. What? And that's it?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
it doesn't make a difference
No.
at all, because it's not like the police know. It's not like he went and told the police, like, "Oh, I finally found the guy. Come."
Yeah, the police know shit.
No, so it's
Yeah.
all of his
They're too busy.
work was for
Yeah.
absolutely nothing.
It was for absolutely zero.
It's like a joke. It's almost a punchline. That subplot is a
Yeah,
punchline
yeah.
to me. It's
It's-
very funny.
It's very. It's stupid. Yeah, it's very stupid. And I mean yeah, it's just it boggles the mind a little bit. It really boggles the mind. And then also, like, on top of that, you also have, like, his adoptive daughter who's like, I'm not sure about this guy, and starts to try and figure out if some of these murders have been perpetrated by the now Jerry. And technically she gets pretty close.
Yeah.
And then, Jerry's like
Opening her mail.
kind of opening her mail, committing felonies. From his time not at the American Eagle Realty firm, which I thought was kind of funny.
He has that whole
yeah,
party when it was just all the people he sold houses to.
pretty much. Yeah,
That's
it's like all of
awesome.
his clients. Do you think our realtor does that?
Ew.
Is it like Cable Guy though? Like when they have that party, and they're just all those old people.
Yeah.
American woman.
Our realtors suck.
Yeah,
Anyway.
but yes.
Our realtor was not charming like this one. See, that's what you need in a realtor. You need a sociopath, charming boy with a sweater vest.
Yeah. There has to be a level of charm in there. There has to be something. Like, you have to get people to trust you. That's usually a good idea.
But Jerry Blake would probably have killed us because he would have been, "Oh, this is a great place for a family. This is a house for a family." And then we would say, "We're not having kids." And he would go, "Oh, I can't take it." And then he would murder us with a 2x4.
Yeah, I'm still hang up on the fact that, like how could you still trust a man who still, when he was just about to become a teenager, still thought that horses could talk? That's something that troubles me.
In the first draft of the script, there was flashbacks where he, as a child,
He was being abused.
was being
probably.
abused and like
Yeah.
put into a closet and stuff. So
Okay.
the director was like, "I'm not interested in explaining this man. Let's just go for it. We'll get it."
No, you know what? I think that's a really interesting storytelling thing. And unfortunately, though, when he has these outbursts, they're not, like, to me at least, they're not particularly clear. So I wish maybe there was a little bit, but I do understand the fact that, like, you don't want to fill your horror movie up with, like, child abuse.
No, just murder.
Just murder. I like the fact that they made that decision, but I would have preferred it to be maybe a little bit clearer.
Really? You don't think that it's clear why he's doing this? He says it every time he gets annoyed. Someone annoys him and he's, "Whoa, we gotta have order around here. We gotta have order. Why doesn't anyone listen to me? Why don't they just leave me alone? Why don't they just do what I say? Order!"
The fact that
He says it every time.
the fact that you know, like, you almost know this film word for word is very odd. It's very odd.
There's something, everything about this movie brings me joy. I don't necessarily understand it, and I do get upset when people don't agree with me. I love this movie.
I do like the turning point where he's just like, oh no, I'm gonna murder them now.
There
You
is
know?
a point also, like, there is a moment where he gets so annoyed with them that he's down in the basement, which is his little sanctuary,
Yeah.
and he's picking out a murder weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And he's so annoyed and he's mumbling to himself. And he grabs a hammer and he's like, okay, this is the thing.
I'm gonna bludgeon them to
I'm
death
going to
with
get
this
him
hammer.
with the hammer. And then his wife's like, Jerry, dinner in 15 minutes. And he's like, dinner. And he drops the hammer because he's
Yeah.
hungry. Maybe he was just hungry.
He was
Okay. And so
hangry.
they get another
Yeah,
day on
he
their
was
lives
hangry.
because he's getting dinner. And she's icing that big, big cake for the three of them. Like a double, triple layer yellow cake chocolate frosting situation.
It's pretty, yeah, that's
is my
kind of
favorite.
insane, yeah.
She's
It's
making
kind
my
of
favorite
insane.
type of cake.
He fucking killed the psychiatrist with a 2x4 as well. Just
he was a
battered fuck out of him.
he was a danger to his ideals and his lifestyle, so he had to go.
Yeah. I also think as well, like, this is where the argument comes up about like, they say the film's gory, or at least they argued the film was gory. This film doesn't go far enough, as far as I'm concerned.
That part is pretty intense, where he slams him in the face with that bit of wood.
Yeah, this is what that's an outline.
But it's good.
Moment. I wish the film maybe just went a little bit further with the violence, because you do get that sight of like the murder, like of the family murder at the beginning of the movie, and you're like, holy shit, that's fucked up. And then it doesn't really get much. Yeah, it doesn't really get much grimmer than that.
I think I like that, though, because you have that tension throughout the whole film, because you know what he's capable of. And you
Yeah.
can see him almost at the breaking point so many times that you're like, ooh, like, when's he gonna snap? Because
Yeah.
you know what he can do.
It's because his standards are too high. That's
Absolutely.
the problem.
Well, no, it's just because people can't.
live up to his
Yeah.
standards.
Yeah, it doesn't mean they're too high. He's
Did
a good
you-
guy.
Did you like the part where Jerry screamed rape?
Yes, I love that part quite a bit because
It's wild.
when the daughter's kind of doing whatever she wants, it looks like she's at a late night kind of hangout bar club thing, and there's a guy from class that she really likes, and they drive home on his scooter, and they have a little innocent kiss at the front door, and then Jerry slams the door open. And I don't remember what he says immediately, but I do know that when the wife comes out, he screams, "This punk was trying to rape our daughter." And everyone just loses it. I think this is also another snapping point for him.
Yeah.
Because the wife goes, "I've known this kid longer than I've known you."
Yeah.
And he's like, "What is that supposed to mean?"
Oof. Yeah. It's like,
And he just stares into the distance,
yeah.
very upset.
He was pretty pissed. It did take a turn there, and it's just like, she's only 16. He's like, I'm also only 16. And it's like, okay. All right. It is, yeah, it does, yeah, there is some massive leaps. The one moment in the movie that I think really kind of distills like the quality that this film had the potential to show was when they're in the kitchen. She's just had the phone call with his previous job.
Right, because this is right after he decided, all right, I'm done. Like, this isn't working.
Yeah.
They're never going to live up to my expectations.
Nope.
So then he goes on the ferry,
Mhm.
gets a brand new job
Yep.
where he's balding and he's got a mustache this time and glasses.
He's a completely new person.
He
now.
already has another chick on the hook in the other town.
His neighbor.
And yep, his next door neighbor, easy
Yep.
peasy.
Mm-hmm.
So then he's going between these two lives. He's got the brand new one,
Yeah.
and then he's got old Jerry Blake.
Mm-hmm.
Hodgkins.
Because this isn't
The new one is Hodgkins.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Hodgkins, like the disease. He's kind of like this isn't the first time this has happened, but this is like the most prominent time, and he does it in front of somebody, which makes you think that like this is maybe the breaking point of happens with all of these families from the past, that he mixes up his identity
Yeah, because he does it at one point, because Stephanie is his now daughter, the older daughter.
Yes.
And he's talking to a little kid, and he calls his daughter Jill, which is actually the actor's real name. Her name is Jill.
Okay.
But he mixes that up too, and she goes, "I thought your daughter's was Stephanie."
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, yeah." Yeah, he can't keep track of it. But yeah, sorry, go back to the kitchen scene. This is a pretty awesome scene.
And he's like, and the wife realizes, and she's like, "Wait, hold on, who are you talking?" He's like, "Hold on, who am I here?"
Right, because she caught him out.
Yes.
Because he quit his job at American Eagle Realty, and he's talking his way out of it. Oh, that girl, I've never gotten a girl fired in my life, but this new girl, what an idiot.
Yeah.
And he gets on the phone, and that's when he's like, "Hodgkins, how hard is that to remember?" And she's like, "Jerry, what?"
Yeah.
That's when that classic line.
Who am I here? It is the defining... It's the best piece of writing in this entire film.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's so scary because that's when he knows there's no going back.
Yeah, but it's also kind of like, it's a massive, like, it's an open window to like the state of his psyche. Is that he's just like, hold on, wait, who am I here? Hold on, who am I pretending to be? And like, someone's witnessing it as it's happening, as he is unraveling. It's scary.
He just takes that breath. He goes, "Oh, Jerry Blake, right?"
Yeah.
And then
Stabs her.
no, he takes.
Oh no, he smashes her in the face with the phone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah, see, I'm like, no, it's not that violent. It could be more violent. That's pretty fucked up. Just smashes the front of her face with the fucking phone receiver.
I know. I've seen this film 10 plus times. I've seen this film so many times.
Yeah,
you've seen it a couple times.
Like the second or third time.
Because usually I always want to put it on. But
yeah,
you're saying it's not that violent, but when we were watching it last, you were just, "Oh my God, holy shit, oh God," because it is insane when he hits the guy with a 2x4, when he slams his wife in the face with that phone.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
It is really brutal.
Domestic
and there's a lot
violence.
Yeah, you shouldn't hit women, guys.
Don't hit anyone.
Unless they're really talking some smack. No. Yeah, no, I mean, the ending is, I mean, I just don't want to detail everything. I feel like we've kind of been detailing since we talked about the penis scene, but like...
Well, the one thing that you brought up early on in the movie, you go, "Does he kill a dog in this movie?" And I go...
I did ask.
Thank goodness he does not, because you see a dog get introduced in the beginning, and you could be pretty sure in these types of films that dog is going. But he doesn't.
Nah.
I'm very happy for that.
It's the one thing I don't really like about Fear. Is
the
that
pup.
Because it's not only does a dog die, but it's the most fucked up thing that you could do. Like, they fucking play with the corpse of the dog.
Why are you laughing? Fear, that film could be perfect if it wasn't for the dog.
The dog murder.
The decapitation.
It's like the minute you start hurting, the minute you start hurting children and the minute you start hurting like animals and stuff in a movie, it starts to go to like a completely different place. Like, it's psychopathic. Now, people hitting each other and like shooting at each other, okay, that's kind of like your bread and butter of like your action movies and stuff like that. But like, that's like, yeah, when it starts going there, it's a whole other level of fucking nastiness.
Too far.
I'm just not interested in it. But I respect the fact that it goes there and it makes me feel something. But it's like, I could honestly do without it.
Absolutely. And it is scary because it's after he knocks out his wife with the phone. And
tosses her down the stairs. Yeah.
And the puppy comes into the kitchen and he's sitting on the floor covered in blood with a knife because he had to pick out his murder weapon. Because he can't just carry around the corded phone. You
No.
need something else.
No.
So he picked out a big knife.
It would have been funnier if he did like go around with
Just
like
pull the phone out of the
just
wall.
pull the phone out of the wall, and he's like going around with that, and he's like, "Daddy's home," and he's like, "There's a call waiting," and he's just like swinging it around.
Make room for daddy.
Yeah, like just like a fucking mace. He's just like hitting things with it. Those,
Oh, yeah, like swinging it around?
yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Aye. I think it's, I don't know what that is. I can't remember what it is. Anyway, but
Like a flail?
flail. There you go. That's right. It's fucking flail. Yeah, he's just going around smashing folk with fucking like a telephone receiver. You know those 1980s telephone receivers? They got some real weight behind them. Like that's like engineering.
We have one
We
in
have
our
one.
house.
Yeah, they are.
And it is
fucking
pretty
nuts.
heavy.
And I used one. I used one when I was younger because
Well,
we're
of course.
old. Yes,
Of
we had
course
we
you
had
did.
phones when we were younger, like actual phones. But yeah, no, he could have just gone around with that. I would have had more respect for that than the knife. But it's probably harder to kill the brother-in-law with the phone receiver.
Because he had a gun.
He had a gun.
He came in with a gun. He came in, the brother-in-law, with a loaded gun
Yeah,
and still failed
miserably.
to kill him.
Yeah,
Insane. But then he
Yeah.
goes on the track for Stephanie, the daughter, who is taking a shower. Now, it's this part I find interesting. I'm not going to go too into depth with this particular part, but it had been hammered into our heads that the daughter Stephanie is 16. She was only 16 years old.
she was only 16.
Luckily, the actor, Jill Sholin, who plays her, is 22
Oh, okay.
because there's a nude scene with her, and it's a little off-putting when you go, oh, this is just a kid. It's just a little girl in high school. And then there's
Yeah.
a nude scene, and it's interesting. She had said in an interview in 2019, that was the only movie in which I'm naked. I remember talking to the director about it, and he explained why it was important, and I realized it wasn't about the sex.
No.
But it makes it much more frightening that she's there, nothing on, innocent as can be, taking a shower, and she has literally no idea that there's a man that's basically just tried to kill the mother or beaten her, and he's
Yeah.
sitting there with a knife and he's about to go after her.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think this is kind of like, it's not really like a staple. Like, it's a staple of these horror movies as well. Because you have, like, Friday the 13th, and they're all teenagers in that movie, too.
That's
Like, all the camp counselors and stuff like that. Like, there's
But are they like
16.
barely legal type of teenagers?
Well, 16 is not barely legal.
No, 18,
It is
I mean.
illegal. Right. Well, yeah, maybe.
the camp counselors might be like 18.
I think the camp counselors are 18. You're not seeing any children. But yeah, I think the fact is that she's 16 or she's meant to be playing a 16-year-old and
Yeah.
you're like, whoa, hold on. This is fucking weird.
Oh, this is just a really cool gray area, but we get to see boobs.
Yeah, I guess so. It's like, okay. It's a grey area. What are you talking about? It's no fucking Porkies. Like, what is this? Grey area. Yeah, and I don't know. Like, I don't really want to talk about the movie too much more.
Well, we basically got to the end of it.
Yeah, it ends as you would expect.
I love you. That's how it ends.
Yeah. They
Fuck that birdhouse.
They cut down the birdhouse. Yeah.
This movie's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
It's a film.
One thing I did write down, which I thought was funny. So when Terry O'Quinn was asked about Stepfather 3, Father's Day, why wasn't he in Stepfather 3? He goes, I shouldn't have done the second one. I mean, how many times can you kill this guy?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a horror movie. You've got a villain. Sometimes they get up. They're very resilient.
Yeah, I mean, he knows. He knows. I mean, Jason keeps on coming back.
It sure does.
Freddy kept on coming back.
Even, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Freddy...
They keep on coming back. Like, that's the thing. They have to keep on coming back. That's how franchises survive, is that you continue to have your villains survive.
The beginning of Stepfather 3 is amazing. There's no penises in those, unfortunately, or else I would cover them.
Or fortunately. Yeah, no, he just has a facelift. He just gets a facelift.
No, he gets a full face transplant, Ryan, in Stepfather 3. He
Yeah,
gets
that's
a
what I mean.
face off
Yeah.
in a crispy, crunchy, filthy old barge boat. He gets, and it looks like he's going to have an infection, but he has the most perfect face when he comes out of it. It's awesome.
Yeah. Oh,
You're
Robert,
like, what?
Robert Whiteman. Yeah. Go in as Terry O'Quinn, come out as Robert Whiteman.
What the hell? It's wonderful.
They should do that with any sort of role change. They should just do that as a standard. Just do a face-off scene.
Yeah.
For any sort of like transition from character to character. Like if they did that in Marvel, that'd be great.
It's shot, that whole face transplant in Stepfather 3 is shot like a Sam Raimi horror film. There's like saws and everything's like dripping and it looks awful. And then he comes out perfectly fine.
Does Stepfather 3 predate Face Off?
Interesting.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know. I mean, we're going to wrap this fucker up in a second, but yeah, that interests me. Like if he does a full face transplant, does it predate Face Off? Because Face Off is like 97? 96 maybe?
Let's see. Yeah, 97. So yes, Stepfather 3 predates Face Off. I mean, to be fair, they weren't switching faces. They just gave him a new one.
Yeah, John Woo's a fucking thief.
John Woo is a Stepfather fan, and I love him for it. I don't know if that's true. I just feel like he should be.
I don't think
as
it's
we all
true.
should be.
The thing is, like, the thing I like about John Woo movies, again, we're going off topic here, is that his plots are like paper thin. They don't need to be anything. They just have to facilitate a lot of crazy action. That's all they need to be. That's it. End of story. Sometimes there's a melodramatic moment where someone gets, blinded, like in A Better Tomorrow, but no. Usually it's just to facilitate action and, witty one-liners from Chow Yun-fat. That's all it needs to be, really, honestly. So.
And all this movie needs to be is perfect, which is what it is.
Let's just wrap this up. Fucking congratulatory fucking nonsense.
I'm going to let you go first for your visibility and context rating.
Oh, I'll give it a 4.
Nice.
I think it's high enough. It is a little far away, but I like the fact that it's a moment they could quite easily have been like, let's take away the mirror and just see him getting into the shower. Like they could have just did that. Like they could have just been like, well, we're not going to shoot it this particular way because we're going to see too much. Because he's already getting naked, but you could have just seen like basically the whitest moon you've ever seen in your life, just like glaring right back at you. So for me, yeah, it gets a 4, but it doesn't get like top marks. It's one of the most prominent, and the thing is, it doesn't get top marks for me because it's not particularly like memorable for the on the beat stuff. I think the film itself is like a piece of history for like you in particular. Yes, I think that's fine. But for me, it's kind of in one ear and it's out the other. Like it's not like A Bad Lieutenant or like some of the more outlandish things that we've covered on the podcast. It's kind of just that makes sense. Contextually, it makes sense. And they didn't shy away from it, so they are brave to an extent, but it's not memorable. You've seen Terry O'Quinn get into a shower. I mean, that's basically it.
I am going to give it a 3.5 because it is a mirror shot. But one of my favorite...
It's like it's not real.
One of my favorite things about full frontal male nudity is when you can do it and be casual, when you can do it and be natural. This man just murdered his whole family, covered in blood. He's going to take a shower. So, yeah, he's naked. You're right. They didn't have to shoot it that way because they kind of shot it high up. Mm-hmm. But I do like the mirror element because he has that's not even a duality. He has just so many little pieces of himself. So he's kind of looking back at himself, and this is like him transitioning into a new person.
Yeah. So
I do like the mirror element. Penis in the mirror, totally cool. But yeah, I do like that shot. I like that it's right front facing penis in the movie. And yeah, it is casual. And having it be not memorable is probably a good thing too, because it is, it's not meant to be. It's just him cleansing off the old, bringing in the new Jerry. Yeah. And I think that it makes a lot of sense for that to happen. So you get that really cool transition from like dirty, filthy murderer to like brand new boy. Brand new boy with a sparkling idea about his new life.
Yeah.
So I'm big into that. Big into that, yeah. You want to give me your rating for the film, Ryan?
I think you should give it first and then
5 stars. I love this film. I don't know if you guys got that from the way I've talked about it, but I think this film is perfect. It makes me laugh, and it's wonderful. Terry O'Quinn is GOAT. He's the greatest. He's wonderful. He's so scary. The way that he could be mumbling about, why doesn't everyone just leave me alone? We need to get some order around here. And then just turn around in the same shot, basically, and just be this gentle, soft, charming man. He is so scary. And I think it's incredibly effective. And you're right, Ryan, I don't think anyone else could have played that part. Everyone else is great, too. Jill Sholin, am I saying her name right? She's been in a lot of different horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
She's a scream queen. Shelley Hack is hot. She's amazing. She was in King of Comedy. Everyone's great. The Therapist is great.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think this movie's freaking awesome. 5 stars. Whatever.
Yeah. So I gave it 3 because it's fine. So like, yeah, like it's got like it has understandably it has like a cult following, but it's all based on the fact of Terry O'Quinn. Like without Terry O'Quinn, this film is nothing. It is it's complete fodder.
Well, it's also because we've had 2 other people play Stepfather.
You're eating into my time.
I'm sorry. I'm just agreeing with you.
Trying to defend this.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm sorry.
This nonsense.
Keep going.
Like, it's to me like it kind of like it falls short of just like being a relatively quite memorable like horror film, because it just doesn't go far enough for me. So I do find like you're like, oh, it's 5 stars, it's this, that, and that's like there are parts of it where I'm like, oh my god, this is 90 minutes, but why does this feel so slow? And I think it's because it's like the film focuses on elements I really don't give a fuck about. But there are some decent things in it. It's not the worst fucking thing ever. Yeah, I can't really give it any more. And I'm just honestly to not have to bear your wrath, I'm not giving it any less. So
thank you.
It's something. It's something. It feels very bread and butter. Terry O'Quinn elevates it a little bit, but it's so bread and butter that unless you've never seen another horror movie that's ever been made ever, you're really not going to think this is particularly special, unless you're part of that cult audience who does think it's special.
Don't tell people what they think about what they're going to think. All right, Mr.
I feel like I've heard that before. Someone's told me that before. But yeah, it's not 100% my cup of tea. I think it's what it is. It's kind of, there it is.
Well, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'll allow it.
Yeah.
I love this movie. Well, thank you guys for joining us for Laura's favorite movie. We've been waiting a long time to do this movie because I love it so much, and I didn't want to mess it up, and I hope that we didn't. I hope that it comes through how much I care and how much Ryan is kind of in the middle about it. But yeah, first movie of Spooky Penis Month. Here we go.
Well, it's better to be in the middle than to be at the other extreme end of it, where I was just like, this is a fucking piece of shit.
If that was the case, I would have made you lie, because I'm not going to be dealing with that. But you've watched
that's what
it
I said
enough.
The first time I watched it, I was like, oh my god, this is trash.
But then how much you care about me has maybe helped a little bit.
It did, yeah. It made me think, like, what is it about this that she likes? Like, what's wrong with her?
Because if you're watching it and you look over at me and I'm just smiling from ear to ear, you're like, all right. Must not be so bad.
That's okay. I mean,
this movie's great.
Yeah, some of your favorite movies aren't good, but that's fine.
That's ridiculous. I have an excellent, impeccable taste.
Yes.
So,
My standards are just too high.
Stepfather, make sure to follow us on social media. We will, we always post the movies that we're going to do, and we have clips, and we're funny. You can follow us on Letterboxd, and stay tuned for the next movie of Spooky Penis Month. Maybe we'll have guests, maybe we won't. See if we can schedule that. That's cool.
Wow, look at you.
Either way.
Yeah.
Either way, we'll do our best.
What a roundabout way of doing that. Right. Okay.
Coming to you from American Eagle Realty, I have been Laura. Or have I?
Well, no, I've definitely been Ryan. I'm not playing into that nonsense.
Cool.
All right.
We'll see you next time for the next Spooky Penis movie.